Praise, honor, and glory to our King, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Ba'Hashem Hakwadash, double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity. With that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah. Today's lesson, the greater war builds. And it is building. It is brewing. There are tensions. When it comes to this Ukrainian war, Ecclesiastes 3:8 says it best. Many choose to love Ukraine in their defensive efforts, and many choose to hate the enemy in their attempts, and vice versa. Many also want peace, but we are here to inform you that we are in the biblical times of war. With that being said, let's go over to the scripture of Ecclesiastes 3:8. Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. The opposite of love is hate, and the opposite of peace is war. In this wicked world, talks of peace are temporary, since Esau Edom has always lived by the sword. Peace talks, those peace talks, have been replaced with high tensions between the nations, and now talks of nuclear war is heard among them. The greater war of Armageddon, the great war of Armageddon will only come about when that electronic CHIP is fully implemented. But what the entire world is witnessing firsthand with the West, Ukraine, and Russia are the first stages of that greater war to come. That war to end all wars, the worst one of all. World War III. There's no peace in sight. War resumes, and the worst is yet to come between all nations. And that's true. The war between Russia and the West will intensify in an all-out inevitable war that will bring about much destruction to many places of the earth. The earth will continue forever. It shall abide forever. Generations are what's going to pass. But they shall come back again. Because the Bible does talk about reincarnation. These chess pieces are being prepared on the board. And as soon as that CHIP comes, that CHIP, that first critical move shall be made to bring about the war of Armageddon. The Lord, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, is the best strategist when it comes to war tactics. Yeah, you have your warmongers here on earth, but the Lord is the best strategist when it comes to their own war tactics. The Lord himself is a man of war. That being said, let's go over to Exodus 15:3. Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. The Lord is a man of war. Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai is his name. As soon as the CHIP, MOT to the B, gets implemented, the angels of the Lord shall be loosened to bring about great tribulation, great destruction. With that being said, let's go over to the scripture of Revelation 9:14, which speaks of those angels. Revelation 9:14, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And to be bound also means to be restricted, as in the case of the angels of the Lord Yahweh wa Yahushai. And the angels of the Lord are bound due to biblical prophecy. But as soon as these few remaining prophecies are fulfilled, they will no longer be restricted. They shall be let loose to bring about great destruction. The angels are holding the winds back for the sake of the elect of the Lord Yahweh Yahushai to be sealed. But as soon as the 4 angels are let loose, that greater war of Armageddon, which means the mountain of the troops, will take place. There is no stopping what has been written and seen in visions. There is no stopping the inevitable. They can try, but they shall fail. After the great war, there shall be peace, and no nation will lift up arms against another nation, as it says in the scripture of Isaiah 2 and 4. Isaiah 2 and 4. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And this scripture of Isaiah 2 and 4 is also found in the scripture of Micah 4 and 3. After the great war, there shall be peace, for the nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Their swords shall be beaten into plowshares, and their spears made into pruning hooks. After the great war, there shall be peace, and all weapons of war shall be broken down. There shall be productive tools of cultivation rather than weapons of war. On that day, nation shall not rise or lift up a sword against another nation, and neither shall they learn war anymore. That is true peace. Because there will never be peace upon this wicked kingdom. The rulers do live by the sword. The only difference is that the nations will be in slavery due to them partaking in the captivity of the children of Israel under the hands of Esau, Edom. Children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Tainos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the same lineage and bloodline. The beginning stages of that great war have begun. That's why many are seeing that draft of soldiers among the Russian news. Make no mistake, war is coming, and it's on the horizon. And the West has already stirred up the captains and kings of the Medes, which are the Russians, and there's no turning back. Jeremiah 51 and 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And you have stirred up the juggernaut forces of the modern day Medes, and it cannot be undone. The scripture of Jeremiah 50 and verse 9. In verse 9 does say that the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, will cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. On that day, these other nations, along with these stirred up kings of the Medes, its captains, and the rulers thereof, shall come up against Babylon the Great, which is America. They will not regard silver or gold, and their only purpose shall be to burn her with fire. Jeremiah 51 and 29. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. You see? To make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. So that tells you of Babylon the Great's destiny. Desolation. No inhabitants. Russia will strengthen their ties with the other nations to come up against Babylon the Great. And once the chess pieces fall into place, Babylon shall become desolate without an inhabitant. It's prophecy. It's prophecy for modern day Babylon to become a desert. There shall be few men left in those days. The worst world war to come is on the horizon. And while the United States has remained the top world superpower, now you are seeing threats from China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. North Korea keeps shooting missiles. And also threats from other smaller countries. The U.S. has its hands full. And they sure will have their hands full as time progresses. Right now, Edom is fighting against Edom by the sword of his own brother, according to the scripture of Haggai 2 and 22. But the time comes when all nations will take part in this greater war. World war. The judgment of the Lord, Yahweh, Yahushai, is flipping unto the nation of Edom, the so-called white race, and unto the rest of these other nations that were in league against the nation of Israel. The Holy Scriptures have said to warn them from me in the scripture of Ezekiel 33 and 7. And that is exactly what we are doing all throughout the world. Warning you of the evil sea hip to come, and of that greater war that will be with burning and fuel of fire. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Every battle fought in history has brought much confused noise, from the noise of war cries unto the noise of swords and spears striking shields, to siege towers and battering rams upon the gates of the city walls, etc. Those past wars brought much confused noise, but in the third world war to come, and it shall come quickly, as the scriptures do say, there will be the much confused noise of these missiles striking its strategic targets. Now that you have that ruthless Russian general of Armageddon, expect much more explosions and burning in Ukraine. And in any war, you're going to have casualties of wars. Got a casualty of war. Civilians shall get caught up in the crossfire. But with that being said, Kal Olam Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Ba Hashem, Rahakwadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruwell. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah.